Hey there, thanks for joining me. In this video, I'm going to be going over some important facts and figures and statistics for the Cape Coral real estate market. Today is December. It's already December of 2023. I can't believe we're already here at the end of the year, but here we are. I'm going to be giving you some important numerical information and some insights and advice based on what I've seen here in the market over the course of the last month. If you're just joining us, my name is Dustin Guthrie. I'm a long-term resident here in Cape Coral in Southwest Florida. I'm a real estate broker of nearly 20 years here in the area. Work here full-time, raising my family here. I'm a big advocate for our area, and I put out multiple videos every single week. I do one of these market reports every single month, but otherwise I put out a couple of important videos every single week, informational topics on Southwest Florida, as well as listing tours and things like that. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. I think you'll get a lot out of it. I try to create some value with this channel in the hopes that, you know, if you watch my videos, maybe when you do have a real estate need, if you're buying or selling a property here in Southwest Florida, you'll think of me and you'll reach out to me. My contact information is down there in the description, so please, by all means, reach out, call me, text me, email me, whatever it takes. I'm happy to help you meet your real estate goals here in Southwest Florida. All right, let's get right into it. I like to start out with the highest and lowest sales of the month. So I'm talking about the month of December, basically the last 30 days. So let's get right to it with the lowest sale in Cape Coral for the last month. Okay, so the lowest sale in all of Cape Coral in the entire month of November was this little bitty condo over here in the southeast portion of Cape Coral. It was 1016 Southeast 8th Street, unit number 4. It's over in the Sunny Palms West condo complex. It's in a nice area. It certainly looks like a decent unit, but it was a really small unit. It's just a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, only 652 square feet of living area, so a tiny little unit, probably comparable to the size of a larger hotel room. But congratulations on the buyers and sellers for that. That property sold for $127,000. right here at the end of November on the 28th. So certainly looks like a nice unit, just a little small one, which is probably why it was the lowest sale this month. In terms of the lowest single family home that sold in all of Cape Coral for the month of November, that's this one over at 1023 Dolphin Drive. It's in a great area of the yacht club down in the Southeast Cape, but this one had major hurricane damage, major flooding in it. Looked like it was kind of up in the air of whether or not it might even be able to be salvaged or not. But that property sold for $225,000 here in the third week of November. So hopefully they're able to put that one back together. It looked like there might have been some concerns with the FEMA 50-50 rule on that one. So hopefully they're able to salvage that thing and put it back together. But congratulations to the buyers and sellers on that one. Now let's get into the highest sale of the month for November. All right, so the highest sale in all of Cape Coral in the month of November actually set a record, an all-time record for the city. If you watch my monthly market report for last month, I did mention it briefly because I'd just seen it on the MLS, and actually they deleted the listing off the MLS. I don't know why they did that. Maybe it was for privacy concerns or something like that, but I did double check the tax records, and the sale did actually occur. And this beautiful 2022 built brand new custom home at 1967 Southeast 36th Terrace. It's an 11,302 square foot brand new windward construction home. They're a great custom home builder here in the area, but that property sold for over $6 million, actually sold for $6,063,000, and that included the furniture. But gorgeous house. It was on a quadruple lot, just under a half an acre with 300 feet of water frontage there, seawalled water frontage there. It was just right off the Caloosahatchee River in a really nice wide corner canal. And so congratulations to the buyers and the sellers for setting a record in Cape Coral. I don't think that record's going to last very long. We've got several properties that are listed over $5 million and one that's listed around the $10 million mark. So we're definitely setting records here in Southwest Florida, and I anticipate we'll continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Just for fun, the second placed highest sale of last month was this beautiful property over here at 3339 Southeast 22nd Place over there in the Southeast as well. That property sold for $3.7 million halfway through November. It was a 4-bedroom plus a den, 4.5 bath, brand new 2023 built, 3,426 square feet of living area right there on a Gulf access canal. Beautiful property. And again, congratulations to the buyers, the sellers, and the agents on that excellent sale as well. Okay, so now that those are out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the statistics. I'm going to start off with the overall stats of the Cape Coral real estate market for November of 2023. All right, so let's get into the general statistics of the Cape Coral residential real estate market for the month of November 2023. I'm going to talk about these residential units. Basically what I'm talking about is condos, townhomes, and single-family homes of all types, on water, off water. It's the entire residential real estate market. This doesn't include lots. But check out this number of sales chart. We're at 376 total sales for the month of November. That's been in a decreasing pattern since early this year. But really, it's kind of followed the pattern of last year. If you look at this chart, we're going back to 2021, the end of 2021 there. So we've got all of 2022. We've got that area down there where we had the hurricane, so that sales dropped off and then picked back up. But we're going to probably anticipate we're going to be increasing those numbers here as we get into the first few months of 2024. That's exactly what happened last year, even in spite of the hurricane. Really, the interest rates are the main factor. That's why our numbers are a little bit down now. Interest rates are higher. Actually, they've actually dipped a little bit in the last couple of weeks. So if you are planning on buying in the next 6 months or so, you may look at what your mortgage rate is right now, because it did dip. I even saw some instances where the rate dipped under 7%, which we haven't seen quite in a while. So again, interest rates are the main factor, I think, is why our numbers are a little bit down, but I will expect those to go back up as we get into the first quarter of 2024. It's exactly what happened last year. If you want to take a look at this median price chart, our complete median price for the month of November across all property categories was $385,000. And when you look at this chart, again, going back to the end of 2021, $385,000 is a low point for this year, but we're basically back to where we were around this time last year. Again, you can make the case that the numbers were a little bit screwed up from the hurricane last November, but we're looking a lot like we did at the end of last summer, and we can probably expect those numbers to go back up in the first quarter of 2024. We're largely holding firm price-wise. At least the numbers are down, but the number of sales are down, but the actual median price is staying pretty consistent, even in spite of the interest rates coming up. We're just having fewer sales. So again, we've been creeping down since the start of this year, but overall, I think those figures are going to start going back up as we get into the stronger months of the first quarter of 2024 and even into the spring. Spring is usually when we are at our peak season, so expect that to continue. All right, I want to break down some of these segments of the market. So I'm going to start off with off-water single-family homes. So I'm basically talking about properties that are not on a canal system or a lake. So let's go ahead and start with this category of property. Okay, so the off-water residential single-family homes represent the largest portion of our total residential real estate market here in Cape Coral. It's the largest sale category. We had 252 of these sales last month, so that makes up 67% of the market. Basically, 2/3 of the market are off-water single-family homes. We are down largely from the year, basically the lowest month since January of this year at 252 sales. But again, we're looking about on par with where we were at the end of 2022, even in spite of the hurricane. I think these months are pretty comparable in terms of the number of sales. Really, what's beating us down is those interest rates again. The hurricane numbers down at the end of last year are a little bit anomalous at this 163 and 209 in October and November, respectively, for last year. But we are down, the peak was 2021. We had November of 2021 is sort of when we peaked out in terms of the most sales, the number of sales that we had, and we're down about 35% since 2021. But again, I expect that to tick back up as we get into January, February, March, and into the months of the spring here in 2024. So Q1, Q2 of the spring will be a little bit better, especially if these interest rates can stay a little bit lower than they have been in recent months. So expect that number to tick up in the next couple of months. We'll see for sure, starting in my next market report in January. But I fully expect the numbers to start going back up. Median price-wise, if you want to look at this chart, our median price for these homes, and again, we're talking about off-water single-family homes, median price was $369,995. $369,995 was basically identical to where we were last month. Last month was $370,995, so we're just $1,000 off, which is pretty much inconsequential. But again, we're looking about where we were last year. So our prices haven't really gone up or down. Certainly the number of sales have shifted, but our median price is staying right about the same. And if you go back to some previous monthly market reports that I've done, you know, I've talked about some of the chief economists that I follow. That was what was expected for this year. We were going to be largely flat. The economists are kind of talking this coming year, 2024, that we're actually going to have a little bit stronger of a market than this past year. So looking forward to hopefully seeing that come to fruition. But especially if interest rates start to come down, I expect those numbers to go up, both the number of sales and the median price. But we'll see those tick up anyway as we get into January and February of next year. I will say one important statistic: of these properties that sold, almost half of them, 49% of these, were built 2022 or newer. So most of this market transfers right now, at least, are brand new construction homes. And I think the reason for that is some of these production builders are giving financing incentives. They're giving some closing cost credits to buyers. They're also giving rate buy down, so their buyers are getting a little bit lower interest rates on their mortgage, and that's drawing most of the market over to some of these brand new construction homes. You know, the other reason I think is people are just increasingly concerned with the storm last year of properties being built up to the latest and greatest hurricane standards, and anything built, you know, 2022, 2023 is going to be built up to the latest, you know, elevations. They're going to have all the latest windstorm codes and things like that in there. And that's helping out with insurance rates and additional costs like that. So I think the two of those probably make up the biggest reasons why the newer properties are selling as opposed to some of the older properties. Okay, so let's get into the next category of property. We're going to leave single-family off-water homes and look at what I know a lot of people are interested in, which is the Gulf access single-family home market. We're going to take a look at these properties. So this is a single-family home on a Gulf access canal or riverfront. We're including those as well, but Gulf access single-family homes. Let's take a look at this market. Okay, so there's obviously fewer Gulf access homes than off-water homes, so naturally there's going to be fewer sales. And in this case, it's quite a few fewer sales. We only had 49 Gulf access single-family homes sell in the month of October of this year. That's about the same as last year. If you look at this chart, you know, we had exactly 49 last November, but keep in mind that was right after the hurricane, so there's definitely some effect that had there. And just like last year, you know, it kind of waned towards the end of the summer. We had increasingly fewer sales as we moved into the later months of summer, and that's exactly what happened this year. And I fully expect to follow last year's pattern in the sense that we're going to see more of these Gulf access single-family homes sell in Q1 and Q2 of 2024. It's what happens every year. The seasonal residents, the retirees that are coming down are mostly coming down in the winter and spring, and that's when they buy properties. So just naturally, we're going to have more sales coming up at the start of the new year. In terms of the peak of this market, the peak number of sales that we had was back in November of 2021, and we are down about 59% from that peak. You know, again, a lot of that has to do with the slowdown in the market with interest rates and things like that. There's usually a lot more cash in the Gulf access single-family home market. There's a lot more properties that transfer with just cash and not mortgage financing. but it's still going to affect us, and that's why we're down about 59%. If we jump over to the median price chart, median price for the month of November was $745,000. You can see on this chart that kind of bounces around a lot. That's just due to the smaller sample size. When we talk about 200-300 properties on an off-water single-family home market, that's getting us a little more narrowed down to a specific price point. When we're talking about only 49 sales, 49, 50, even 60 sales a month, we're going to bounce around in terms of a median sale price as some more expensive or less expensive homes kind of sell and draw up or down that number. But again, we're same as we were basically November of 2022. We were exactly at $745,000 as median sale price back in November of 2022. And we're only down about 2.5% from November of 2021. So again, you're seeing this pattern across the board with a lot of these different residential markets. You're seeing certainly the number of sales have been going down, but the prices haven't been going down. And the reason for that is, sellers are pretty much sticking to their guns. There's fewer buyers out there, and it's taking longer to sell these properties, and we're selling fewer of them. But sellers, by and large, are sticking to their guns. They're not making these big price reductions, and so we're not seeing these property values go down really at all. It's been flat all year. Now, this market, we saw in the off-water single-family home market, a lot of the market was brand new construction properties. We don't really see that with the Gulf Access properties. Only about 11% of these 49 homes that sold in the month of November, only 11% were 2022 or newer. So a larger segment of the market is these older resales. So that's definitely a difference from the off-water properties. Like the last couple of years, expect to see a rise in both median price and number of sales as we get into season. It's just that's just the nature of our market down here. More properties, especially in this category, sell during our winter and spring seasons, and you're going to also see some of the more expensive homes sell during that time of the year. So we should get prices to tick up a little bit as we get into the next few months. So we'll see if that pans out as we get into the next couple of market reports. All right, let's on to the next property category. Let's jump over to condos real quick. My coverage of condos is going to include all types, both on-water and off-water condos, and I'm also including things like townhomes, attached villas. So basically, any residential unit that's not a single-family home kind of gets totally covered under condos. So let's take a look at those. All right, so in terms of condos, our number of sales is kind of on par with the Gulf Access single-family homes. It's a smaller part of our market. It always has been, and it's certainly a little bit slower right now. But if you take a look at this chart, we had 38 total sales. So not very many. It's actually up a few from October, but 38 total sales in the month of November. It's been really largely in the 30s all summer. Really, in the second half of this year, we haven't sold too many condos. That's pretty much par for the course with our market. We don't sell a lot of condos in the summertime. Like the Gulf Access single-family homes, condos are generally more of a seasonal resident, retiree resident sort of market, and they tend to have more activity in the winter and spring months. So again, expect these numbers to kind of go back up. We're basically on par with where we were the last few months of last year. I know that we had the hurricane, so that screws our numbers up a little bit. But by and large, we're just down in the second half of the month for condos. We peaked out for condos in November of 2021, and that matches what single-family off-water homes did. But we sold about 35% fewer condos this month than we did in November of 2021. But again, those numbers should go up in the early months of 2024 and into the spring like they always do. If we look over at the median sale price chart, again, these values kind of bounce around a little bit because we have a smaller sample size. We had a median price of $290,950 this month. That's up from $265,000 last month. It's actually the first increase that we've had in median price since April. Interestingly enough, single family prices reached the highest months in the spring of 2022, but our condo market, the highest months in terms of sale prices, was actually in the spring of 2023, earlier this year. Really not sure why that is. I think there were more people after the hurricane that felt condos were a little bit more of a safer bet than single family homes. And so maybe there was a little bit higher demand for condos in 2023 versus the previous year. But we did peak out for condos in this past spring. So hopefully we'll have another really good winter and spring season for condos. I will say that we're still seeing a healthy number of higher sales in terms of the condo market. When I say higher sales, I'm talking about 500,000 plus sales. We even had a few over in Tarpon Point that were in the middle 1 millions. So we're seeing some higher end condos sell. We had 4 of them, 500,000 to 820,000 in the month of November. We had 4 sales, which, when we're talking about only 38 sales total, that makes up a pretty good chunk of the market for that. And I expect that category to kind of increase as well, along with the rest of condos as we get into the first couple quarters of 2024. 2023 really surprised us with that high point in terms of condo sales. So we'll see if we have another good year. Hopefully we do. But for now, condo sales are slow, but that's not out of the ordinary for this time of year. All right, let's take a look at vacant residential lots. So I'm going to start off with off-water lots. Well, really, I'm going to start off with non-Gulf access lots. So this would technically include any freshwater canal lots or maybe some lake-fronted lots. We're not going to have too many of those sales at any given time, so it's not going to really throw off the statistics. But for the most part, these are off-water lots. If you want to take a look at this chart, we sold 164 lots in the month of November. That's actually the lowest since really February. Again, we were dealing a lot with the results of the hurricane in the following months after the hurricane. So the lot sales, like everything else, kind of ticked down a little bit, but then busted back up into the 200s back in March, and we've kind of been in the 200s really all year until October. We had 177 of these sales last in the month of October, and then 164 here in the month of November. So the peak on this one was 2021, April of 2021. We had 657 of these lots sell in April of 2021. So we're down about 75% since that peak. But really, when you look at over the course of the last 10 years or so, this volume is what we were doing back in 2019 and parts of 2020. So we're really getting back to more of a normal market, if that makes sense. I think this looks like we had a couple of years, 2021, 2022, and really even parts of this year where the sales kind of got a little crazy. And so I think as we've kind of ticked back down in terms of the numbers of sales, we're getting back to what an average market looks like, and that's what we were in basically 2019. If we want to jump over to the median price of those 164 sales, we're basically dead even from the previous month at 48,500. But that's actually the top median price that we've had this year. It's been really the highest all year since November of last year. And really, if you want to take that out because it's anomalous due to the hurricane, it's the highest that we've been really since June of 2022. So at least price-wise, our lot market looks really, really healthy. I think there could be a couple different reasons for that, of why that's kind of hit the high point this past month. Probably something has to do with it is the production builders are maybe buying at a little higher prices. They have an algorithm. I sit next to one of the top wholesale lot guys in all of Southwest Florida. He's my good friend and work associate, and so I glean a little bit of information off of him when I can, and I know that he has several production builder clients that are purchasing some properties, and whenever their equations come out to where it makes financial sense for them to buy at a certain price point, they may buy a few more lots at a bit higher prices. So that could be one of the reasons that we're hitting a high mark for the year. But again, 48,500 is pretty much the highest that we've seen since June of last year. If we want to jump over to golf access lots, so these are vacant residential lots that are on golf access canals. There was only 20 of those that sold in November, and that's up really slightly this year. There's not really a lot of these golf access lots selling right now. The peak for these lots was back in March of 2021. There was 197 golf access lots sold back then. I remember that very, very clearly. We could hardly get a seawall to get put in. I think seawalls were backed up 12, 13 months. Now they're down to 2, 3, and 4 months. So it's definitely a different market for these golf access lots right now. The median price in November was $290,000 for those 20 properties. $290,000. June of 2023 was the peak for median price, and that was at $300,000. All that really tells me is that the buyers for these types of lots are going for the more high-end locations to build higher-end golf access homes. Most of the other golf access lot inventory is kind of just sitting out on the market. Some areas where maybe it's a little bit farther out from open water. There's not a lot of those transfers going on right now, so I think the majority of the market is really people looking to put maybe semi-custom or custom really nice golf access homes on a really good lot location, and that's where the transfers are happening. All right, so price-wise, largely across the board, we've been kind of flat. That's been pretty much the case for the last few months, really all of 2023. We looked a lot like we did in 2022 in terms of the median price of properties that are selling. We're certainly selling fewer of them, but prices really haven't gone down to correspond with that drop in activity. One thing, though, that I did want to point out, one really clear trend that we're having is days on the market. So how long it's taking to sell these properties. And we're seeing a consistent increase in the last really couple of years in terms of the time that it's taking to sell properties, the average property on the market. So take a look at this graph. This kind of encompasses really all types of property categories, but these are single family off-water homes. You can see really we had sort of the low mark down in April, really spring of 2022, and then we've been on a steady increase ever since that. You know, we were all the way down at an average, a median number of 6 days on the market back in late 2021 and early 2022. There was even a couple of months there where we dipped down to 5 days. Properties were really selling in less than a week on average, and that was during the crazy times. We're not in those crazy times certainly anymore, and right now our median days on market is at 42, which is a high point for the year. It's really the high point for this entire chart. It's taken longer to sell these properties. It's been the highest really since 2022, or I'm sorry, 2020. So, you know, we really are at basically a three-year high in terms of the length of time that it's taking to sell the average property. But, you know, I wouldn't get too concerned with that. We're in really normal market territory. We're looking like we did basically back in the 2019 era in the quote-unquote normal market. So, you know, unless that really gets haywire and those numbers start to really go off the chart next year, which I don't expect whatsoever. I expect them to maybe stay the same, maybe tick back down in the first couple of quarters of 2024. But unless we really see that start to explode, I wouldn't start to panic on that front. If we want to jump over to golf access single family homes, it takes a little bit longer to sell those. Obviously, they're a higher dollar price point. There's not as many of them, but it takes longer. They were at 66 days is what the median days on market were for them in the month of November. That's down a little bit from the previous month, but again, we're basically back to 2020 in terms of the time it's taking to sell these properties. You want to look at condos. We're basically at an average of 40 days on the market it's taking to sell the average condo. If you look at some different price points, some of the higher priced condos, it takes quite a bit longer than that to sell. But if you're looking in the 100 and 200 thousands, it's generally taking, if they're priced right, about 40 days to sell the average condo. Once again, that's right back to 2020's numbers. If you want to jump over to lots on average are taking 46 days to sell. That's down from 57 days in October. So we went in the right direction from October to November. But really, it's actually been the lowest since September of last year. So lots are selling a bit more. We'll have to maybe dig into that and investigate that. I'll have to ask my my lot specialist friend on why he thinks lots are doing a little bit better here at the end of summer, start of fall and winter. They're doing a little bit better than they have been in previous days. But overall, it's a pretty clear trend. It's just taking longer to sell properties. They're sitting on the market longer. So if you're selling a property, you need to make sure that you're priced right, and that property looks as best as it possibly can look, because there's fewer buyers out there and they're taking their time. So if you're a buyer in this market, what should you do? What's my advice for you? Well, I'll tell you, the market really looks a lot, right now the market looks a lot like it did in this time last year. The last 2 years, the second half of the year has been really, really slow. The Q3 and Q4 of 2022 and 2023 was really slow. As a brokerage, we could see a noticeable decline in our brokerage business for the second half of the year, and then it rocketed back up in Q1 and Q2 of both 2023, and we anticipate 2024. So if you can look right now, I would take advantage of this slow point in the market, especially right now when we're in the midst of the holidays. There's not a lot of people looking for property, but I'll tell you, not just in the hot and heavy times of the last few years, but nearly every year in my nearly 20 years of doing this full time here in Southwest Florida, when January 2nd rolls around and people kind of shake off that hangover, my phone starts blowing up, and it's remarkable how fast that activity picks up. So if you're able to look right now in December, while we've got a little bit of a slowdown, you're going to have a little bit less buying competition out there. You're maybe going to get a little bit better price and maybe a little bit better selection of property than you will if you wait until January or February. So if you can look right now. The other thing is, interest rates, like I mentioned, took a dip in the last couple of weeks. Like I mentioned, I even saw one where it got under 7%. So if you're able to look into those rates, if you are getting a mortgage and you are buying something in the coming months, if you can look at those now and lock something in, that way if the rates do go up a little bit more, you're locked into a lower rate. I think that would do yourselves a great service to check on that. Speak with a mortgage professional if you need to speak with somebody. I've got some great people in the industry that I work with that I can put you in touch with. So reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with them. I would say, just if you're looking, whether you're looking in the next 6 months or 12 months, get a hold of me now. That way, we can put a plan together. We can position you as best as possible in order to get you the right property at the best possible price, no matter if you're buying this month, 6 months, 12 months, even 18 months. I would encourage you to get a hold of me. My contact information, of course, is down in the description of this video. You can call, text, or email me anytime, or you can even use my Calendly link to set up an introduction meeting, and we can take 15 or 20 minutes. I'll introduce myself. You can tell me a little bit about what you're looking for, and I can give you some insights on what we should do to kind of best position you. So definitely reach out. I'll be happy to speak with you. So if you're a seller in this Cape Coral real estate market, what is my advice for you given the situation right now? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is don't panic, but have realistic expectations of what your property is worth. Have realistic expectations of how fast you're going to sell that property. Gone are the crazy days of 2021 and 2022 where we could throw some crazy number in terms of a list price on the property and expect to get offers within a couple of days, and maybe even get multiple offers and offers that are over list price. Those days are long behind us. You need to have realistic expectations. You need to price your property right. And, look, both you and I are going to have to work a little bit harder to get top dollar out of these properties right now. And you're going to have to spend a little bit extra time, a little bit extra effort, and maybe even a little bit extra money, putting some things into your property to make it show really, really nicely, and be able to compete with the fewer numbers of buyers that are out there currently. You know, the other thing I would tell you is get started as soon as possible. If you're able to start right now, let's get started right now. Give me a call. We'll talk about it and talk about maybe some things you can do so we can get the property on the market as soon as possible. Maybe the first week of January would be ideal. Take advantage of that busy first 6 months of the year, because I think 2024 is going to look a little bit like it did in 2023 and 2022 in terms of the second half of the year activity really dropping off significantly. Whereas the first 6 months, we're having a lot more activity. You know, our population increases by about 30–35% in the wintertime. So you're going to have those buyers in town. And if you're able to have your property on the market, those buyers are going to be able to put their eyes on it versus waiting a little bit later in the year and then maybe being a little bit behind the 8 ball with that slowdown in the second half of 2024. You know, there's whispers of interest rates starting to come down maybe halfway through next year. That would be really ideal if that would happen, because I think if that does happen, our inventory is going to start to creep back down and we're going to get a little more towards back to a seller's market. But don't count on it. If you're able to get your property on the market as soon as possible in the early months of 2024, please do so. Reach out to me and give me a call. We'll talk about your individual property and the area, the property category, what the numbers look like. We'll get an estimated market value on there, and we can get started as soon as possible so we can get that property on the market early in 2024, if at all possible. So, you know, as always, I've got a ton more statistics and information that I'm not able to get to on these short. I try to keep these videos around 20, 30, 40 minutes maybe at the most. And so I've got a ton of information and statistics that I'm not including on this video. So reach out if you'd like any of that data. I'm happy to give you any of the data, any of the charts that I had that we covered today, as well as some of the other property categories that we didn't get to. So definitely reach out to me. I'm happy to provide that for you at no charge. Just want to create some value for you in case you do need something real estate related in the near future. Maybe you'll give me a call, shoot me a text or an email, whatever it takes, and give me a shot at helping you achieve those real estate goals here anywhere in Southwest Florida. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got a little bit out of this video. Maybe you learned a little more about the Cape Coral real estate market than you knew 30 or 40 minutes ago. If you did, please give this video a like. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I think you're going to get a lot of good, useful information and value out of being subscribed to this channel. And again, my contact information is down there in the description. If I can help you with anything, please reach out. Hope you enjoyed this video. You know, there's times to be in the office and there's times to be out on your pool deck. And usually do these videos in the office, but today was about 75 degrees, low humidity, the sun's out, there's a little breeze here. So it just made more sense for me to be out here on the pool deck. I'm really loving life right now. I got my puppy dog down here right now, and life is good. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you on the next video real soon.